In this video I'm going to look at both Deadzone and Firefight and see what we can do about the models within. So this is similar to the video I did not too long ago where I was talking about what models for Kings of War should be either added, alternated or replaced or somewhere along those lines. This is similar but for Deadzone and Firefight. We'll start with Asterians, and quite honestly there isn't much really needed. I suppose what you could do for Deadzone is, and for Firefight I suppose, is have the Kalishi for the Asterians hard plastic or on the vault. Putting them in hard plastic seems a bit pointless though, because they've got both weapons in the profile gameplay wise, so unless you make a third Kalishi unit which may be a specialist or such like, I don't see the point in doing that. Putting them on the vault, I can see the point of doing that because it gives you more option if you want to print stuff off. I don't really think there's anything else Deadzone wise for the Asterians that they could do. Perhaps maybe put the characters in the vault. You could do that for all the factions in Deadzone really, put all the characters on the vault. I think that'd honestly be a good idea, to be quite honest. The main thing that I would have said before Manic released the info is make some ciphers hard plastic, but they're doing this. What I would suggest with that is give the options to have command options, black talons and normal ciphers, and so you could have energy shields actually physically shown, and light blades and all the special weapons, and the close combat variant and the range variant. I think you'd probably have to do 2 sprues to get 10, to be honest, or maybe 2 sprues to get 5, depending on how they want to sprue it up. The only other one is the Matsudans, which they're sort of making in their own faction and adding some to the Asterians. So yeah, there's not really anything else I'd say they could change about the current models, but in Firefight First Edition there were these models that the Kalishi, well I say models, there were these pictures that the Kalishi had bipedal mounts, sort of like the Gungans did in Star Wars Episode 1 where they did the big battle near the end against the Trade Federation. They also had a picture, I'm pretty sure, of this massive 4-legged thing that could transport things and attack in close combat. I would like to see them come back for Firefight at some point. Maybe the bipedal things for Deadzone, perhaps. It's an option, but would they actually be needed for how the Asterians work? No. But would it be a nice alternative, a nice option? Yeah, I think there's that there. The only thing I can say about the Enforcers is the new command variant of the Flyer with the big mushroom thing on it. I think honestly it needs redoing. I know it's fairly new, but my god, is it one of the most ugliest things I have ever seen. For the Forge Fathers, what you could possibly do is have like a dedicated command sprue, and maybe have the Thorgrim on there as well, have them as hard plastic. I know they're resin now, but maybe in the future they could do that. Also, as a side note, the Steel Warriors really do need replacing. No other faction have got instructions, and I've not really heard any complaints about them. The only ones I've heard complaints about are the Steel Warriors and the Forge Guard. They really aren't that great to put together. The bodies are fine, legs are fine, heads are fine, good. Comes to the arms, especially the basic Hellstorm rifle, because some of the arms are actually a bit too short, so you have to make fillers to actually make them all connect, which is really annoying and should not be the case. So quite honestly, the Steel Warriors need revamping. quite honestly. And the Forge Guard also, because their poses aren't great, and how you're putting the head things on the bodies don't really fit all that well. Even if they're numbered, you put the right numbers on, don't always work. So to be honest, the Forge Guard also need redoing for that reason. Although saying that though, there is the Brockers. The Brockers are all PVC, so perhaps they could be hard plastic, or perhaps put in the vault as resin, or maybe just done in resin in general. They could potentially be done in hard plastic, and then you could have not only the Brocker Chieftain, basic Brocker, the Bombot, and the Brocker with Magma Rifle. You could have potentially something else. You could potentially have a Brocker with a two-handed hammer, or maybe a Brocker with maybe a grenade launcher, or something else to give them a bit of spice perhaps. I can't see them doing this, to be honest, but maybe make them resin perhaps. I think doing that would be a good call, to be honest. There's only really two things I can think of with the GCPS. One of them is the weapon teams, make them hard plastic and put them on sprues. I can't see nowadays why you have to get one box with one sort and one box with a different sort of heavy weapons in them. Although they are on the vault, so that's kind of an alternative. That's fine, but I think nowadays they should be hard plastic. I don't think it'd be that hard to do, to be honest. I know it's going to be a way off, but it's an option. Another one is the Ogre Terminator, and that one, I think an easy compromise is make them a squad of 3 in Firefight, and in Deadzone you get 3. What you could do with this is have the Kings of War ogres and have some resin upgrades, so that you get the minigun and maybe some mask bits or some other bits to make them more futuristic. It's definitely an option, and I think it'd be the way you could do it, considering what they've just done for the Night Stalkers for Firefight. A few for the Marauders, and one that sort of sticks out of the Goblin Snipers. I do think Manic need to release these properly. Yes, they're on the vault, but I think people would like to actually buy them because the models look quite nice. I've got 2 and the print quality is a bit ugh, but you can tell what they are and whatnot, and to be honest, I think printing them resin is quite good, but I think people would like to get some, especially when you don't really need that many. I mean, maybe have them in a blister of 2, or maybe have them 2 with a Marauder Commander, which is how they work in Firefight. On a separate tangent though, can we have squads of Goblin Snipers on their own, please? Another one, and this is one that you could argue doesn't really need to be done, the Ripper suits as hard plastic. This way you could not only make the Rainmaker and the Mauler, sorry, you could also make the Ripper Warlord as well, meaning you've got multiple options. I could suggest actually a new Ripper unit where it's got a close combat weapon and a ranged weapon. Yes, it'd be a jack of all trades, but you'd have the best of both worlds. So that's another option, I think, if you could go down that route, to be honest. Also, another one is, I think honestly we need to have the maybe more beasts maybe made a bit more easier to buy. I know you can have 5 in a box or whatnot, but I think the ones you get on the vault are a bit iffy. I think they're meant to be smaller. Maybe can we have full size Deadzone and Firefight more beasts? The Hulk actually could do with having a new model. It looks a bit it looks a bit past it nowadays. It's all right, but by today's standards, it's not really good enough. I think we can do a bit better, to be honest. Maybe make it so it cans bigger, and maybe make the model bigger, so maybe size 4, perhaps. Maybe give it tough back again. I know that'd be a bit of a big ask, but increase its points, to be honest. That's what you could do. Another thing is a goblin troop and a proper goblin leader. Yes, we've got the Gruntbot Gaffer, but to be honest, that only works for mechanised units. For normal fleshy units, not so much. Maybe a goblin unit could be a goblin saboteur, a bit like a Z, but stats would be a bit better and would also maybe make things explode. A goblin leader could be someone who is, I don't know, some sort of sniper or someone who does explosives. I'm just throwing it out there. Just options. Just options. Only thing with Maison Labs, and this is more for Firefight, is that a lot of the units need actual upgrade bits to show them, if I'm honest. Like, for example, the Purge unit. What else have we got? The Containment unit, if I'm completely honest. Also, a lot of these units I do think should be put into Deadzone. This is just me, but I do think it's entirely possible that you could do it. The Grenadiers as well. Why not? Would you put the Murderbeards and the Plague Swarm into Maison Labs for Deadzone? It would be nice, but what would be the point of... You're then by that point having too much plague stuff, which the Maison Lab should be a mix of both, not one taking over from the other. Although saying that though, I would like to see the Neuralink Chovar, the Crevastor and the Aberration put on the vault. The Aberration not so much, that's the least of the thing because it's not that hard to get hold of. The Chovar, yeah, because it's just a bit of a pain to get hold of. I've got one, but for other people. And the Crevastor, it's not that hard to get hold of, but what if you prefer resin to PVC plastic, which it is. Also, the box where you get the Crevastor and 2 tank drones, I think it's a little bit expensive for what you get, to be honest. That's just me. The Nameless are a bit of a tricky one because of what they were originally for. They were originally for Star Saga, but then Manic decided to put them into Deadzone, and they're in Warpath when it's released, but not in Firefight. Anyway, what you could do, and this is a big if, is have the let me get things right. The Gunslinger, Assassin and the Rifleman as hard plastic. Now bear with me on this one. What you could do is have all the bodies the same, have the legs all different, so that the Assassins could be the clawed legs that they've got now, and the Gunslinger and the Rifleman would have the just massive tentacles like the Rifleman does now. And then could have 2 different heads, where the unhooded head would be the Gunslinger, the hooded head would be the Assassin and the Rifleman. And then you've got different arms for the Rifleman, the Assassins and the Gunslingers. I think it could be done, and I don't think it's what Manic's going to do yet. And to be honest, near enough all the Nameless are on the vault. Should really put all the Nameless on the vault, but that's just me. I would like to see how they do in Firefight, to be honest. I would like to see that. One thing with the Plague, and this is just plucking things out of my backside, I suppose. Maybe make the Plague Swarm where they're modular, where you've got different like swarm things, and then you put them on the base how you want. I don't know if that's how it works now, so if someone wants to put in the comments below if that's how it works. But to me, I think maybe have them modular, or I mean, there's models you could probably do that for already, but I think this is one way you could do it. I think, you know, just have different plague sort of beasties just dotted on the place. I've done that with the classic plague dogs, like the really skinny Doberman sort of things. It works, I think. Also for the plague, and there's no reason why this isn't done. Comments below if this is the case. I'm pretty sure it's not. For the ghoul sprue and the plague starter box Mantic, include at least 160mm base. There's no reason why you haven't. You can make mortar teams on the sprue. Why not include them? The revs for Deadzone. How are we going to do this then? Right, so the Rebel Cell Leader, I think, should be on the hard sprue, along with the basic Reb Troopers and some other things. What you could do is have maybe all the bodies be similar, apart from the arms, obviously they'd be different, and maybe have a couple of different heads, like, for example, maybe 2 of each race. So you could have 2 sphere ones, 2 human ones, 2 Rin ones, and so on and so forth. That would possibly make it a bit tricky, but I think you could do that. You would have to include the same amount of sphere tails to glue onto the back of the legs. So maybe there's a bit of an iffy thing there, perhaps. But, and you could also have the different weapons, and maybe add more weapons into Deadzone, such as grenade launchers and the like, which they did have in 2nd edition. Don't know why I haven't got here. But I think that's probably the best way to do it. Or what you could do is more extreme sort of sprue as well, or upgrades where the Rin bodies are different. So you've got 2 troop Rins with 2 knives and 2 pistols, and then you've got the specialist ones with 2 knives and a sniper rifle. That way there. The problem with the Rebs is you've got so many different alien options. They're going to look weird if you try and mix and match. Maybe we could do that, but I don't know what you'd do, to be honest. Unless you're just paying someone just to have the Rebs around, just cause. I wouldn't say they're a bad force. I can see a way for them to do a lot, but I don't know. I suppose another one you could do is the Gorons on hard plastic. This would be a bit of an ask because there's specialists, and really there's only 3. There's one with the anti-arm thing, one with the infantry killer thing, and one that's a living legend. So maybe not, maybe not. The next and the progenitors, I do think all the weapons they get honestly need to be put into a upgrade kit, so you can just use a Veermin sprue just to upgrade it, to be honest. Likewise with the pack leader, you could have a upgrade and put one on a nightmare. So I think you could do that. You don't have to, but I think you could. Also, the Master Creeper, you could just have him on a sprue just as a command option. But there is that there. The Thralls, what would you do? Just have a crappier paint scheme? The Rat Swarm, I don't know what you'd do about that, to be honest. Maybe if you've already got some little rats, you could make a swarm. You've got that option, I think. I don't think it's one to be utilised, I don't think, to be honest, but you do you. So that's kind of it. I know it's not as long as the other video, but the other one does have a lot of stuff either missing or needing replacement. On the side note, Mantic replace the Naiad models. They are such a pain to put together and they're uncool, they really are. I know you don't need to for multi-basing, but they're just not good to put together at all. But the detail's nice, I will admit that all day long. So, thank you for watching, or listening. Goodbye for now.